Good morning, my YouTube family. It is your boy Harry from the XMG coming at you on Saturday morning, pretty early, to bring you all the races ranked. Now, crazy week for me. Work is just blowing up. It's like 4 new jobs are starting. Got another 4 starting this week. It's just insanity. And then yesterday evening, decided to put in a patio door. So craziness. But anyways, we are going to jump into all of the races ranked, and I'm going to explain how I did it. But before we get into all that, if you're just finding me for the first time, click that subscribe button, turn on notifications, all that good stuff that goes along with it. We had great week in the XMG. So for all the new subscribers out there, thank you so much for subscribing and showing the love and support for your boy. And for all my family members out there, you know I love you. Let's keep the momentum going. I can't do this without you. One more thing, just quickly, if you have not voted in the August poll, link is in the description below. Vote for your top 5 plug and play characters in Dragon Champions. And also join the Discord. Discord's in the link below. We're having a great time over there, having some really good conversation, just having a lot of fun. So come on in, join us. So with that being said, let's jump into the top races ranked. So here we are inside my main account, and the races we have in the game are humans, elves, pandas, orcs, goblins, pride, and demons. And there's a couple things I took into consideration when I did rank these races. And, a lot of it was the overall characters, how accessible they are, and what they're good at. But the easiest way, just like ranking the legendaries, is I wrote down all of the races, and then I just started. Which race don't I want right now? And that became number 7. Then, which race don't I want next? And that one was number 6. And again, this is subjective, personal opinion, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And we are going to start with number 7. Number 7 comes in at pandas. Now, pandas are an incomplete faction. They need a healer desperately. Pandas could be meta with 100% if they had a healer. They just don't. And the other thing is, too, all of their really good characters, besides the Patriarch Chi and Kinley, are hard to get. Lake, extremely hard to get. Tournament store shop. Rin the Unseen, Tournament Star Shop. Ember, Legendary Event, isn't as hard now, but to get all the pandas up and running, you need luck and you need time, and they just are incomplete. Really good plug-and-play viability in this faction, but overall, missing a healer. Pandas do have a lot of possibilities, but without that healer, they just fall short. They really don't have a solid, like, over-the-top lead. Kinley is very good, but just don't have that one go-to leadership to kind of bring them all together. And looking at the panda faction overall, the top 2 best pandas are Ember and Patriarch Chi, in my opinion. Patriarch Chi's plug-and-play viability is phenomenal. He dispels, and then you have Ember. She has the chance for a mass dispel. Really good damage. So those are my top 2. When I look at the bottom worst ones, obviously Shaolin and Hilda. Hilda can be good, but she, outside of the PvE environment, she really doesn't bring a lot to the table. So that's why Panda's coming in at number 7 for me. Number 6 for me is the Pride. Now, the Pride has made leaps and bounds from where they were. They possibly have one of the best synergies in the game with the Hera lead in Salvador. But they have some really, really long farms in here. Renara, the legendary character. Roxy. Boris. Yogi. one note on Yogi just makes it really, really hard to farm and grind. So, they don't really have good synergy because it's hard to put them all in there. Bori has synergy with Kagi. Hera has synergy with Reval. Or Salvador, I'm sorry. Yogi really doesn't fit with anybody. You have two healers that bring different things to the table, and it's kind of hard to mix and match them into one party. They have some good damage dealers, though. I mean, Reval and Boris are extremely good. Even Kagi to an extent, but super squishy. But they can pump out some really good damage. When it comes to the best two in the Pride faction for me, it is Renara and Boris. Boris just brings the pain. He gives himself a lot of good debuffs. Renara, with her heal over time, the resurrection. And then the bottom two for me, could even be a bottom three, is obviously Vorian the Trickster. Just doesn't get used anywhere. Then we have Kagi, who really, just because he is so squishy, or she, or whatever it is just so squishy, unbelievably just dies so fast. So, and then you could even put Yogi in there. The reason I didn't have Yogi in the top two was because he is so good for the raids, but still doesn't really bring a lot outside of that, even though his move kit suggests that he should. So that's why the Pride really come in at number 6 for me. Coming in at number 5 is the elf race. The elves themselves do amazing amount of damage. They have really one of the most underrated characters in the game, in my opinion, in Thalia. She can really do a lot of good stuff. But you need Thelaine to kind of bring them all together. She is a legendary farm. Count Delman, extremely hard to get. Wonder Lua, hard to get. Thalia, hard to get. Nightiel, 2-node farm, kind of later game farm. They really don't have a tank. Kelrin can be good if you make him super fast. If you make him super fast, he's the only tank I can really think of in this game that you want to go extremely, extremely fast. And then they have 2 healers in the faction, and really none of them are very good. So Singeal is just a waste of a character, in my opinion. Aurelia can do some good things, but her stats bring her way down. Wonder Lua, Thelaine, Count Delman, Thalia, they can pump out some damage. You can make a DPS burn team, put in Nightiel, and just make them ungodly fast, and you can pretty much burn through a lot of people if you have all of them together. So they do bring a lot of stuff as far as that goes. DPS category, great. Thelaine is, in my opinion, the best champion in the game. Delman, with his death mark, Thalia bringing poisons, AoE debuffs. Wonder Lua just single target with invisibility. So they have a lot of good stuff, but they're still kind of just a little bit incomplete, in my opinion. But I'd rather have them over Pride, fully maxed out. Rather have them over the Pandas, obviously. So the top 2 worst in this faction for me are the 2 healers with Aurelia and Singeal. They just don't bring a lot to the table. And, Kelrin's not very good, but he's better than the 2 healers. And, yeah. Top 2 is actually top 3 in this category, because Thelaine, Delman, and Wonder Lua are just absolutely amazing trio to have if you can get them up and running. So the elves themselves come in at number 5. Number 4 comes in at humans. Now, humans, they got some good things going for them. One of the most complete factions in the game, in my opinion. You have a very solid tank in Little Patty. Got a good DPS in Freezard. Eric Shieldbreaker. Solius is just fantastic. Cruel brings a lot of support and utility with the creation. She can put the tank under invisibility. So very, very complete faction. They're pretty easy to get. Cruel's probably the hardest farm for the humans you want. Now that Soleus is free to play, very accessible team, little baddie you can get up and running as you're progressing through the campaign. Freezard, if you spend money, still worth that pack in my opinion. So they bring a lot of different things to the table here, and they also have some drawbacks though. I mean, they need a third mage in the human faction, or they really just need that over the top DPS character to kind of bring them together. If there's the third mage, you definitely want to run Cruel because then they go under invisibility. But they could really use that third mage or that over the top DPS character. Freezard is good. Snorri's okay. But all in all, they need that next step. You need Soleus though. And that is another drawback because, now that Soleus is free to play, it's not as big of a drawback. But you can chip away with your orcs and you can get Soleus much faster. But before Soleus, they really didn't have a leadership to bring them together. Darian's leadership is very, very subpar and awful. So now that Soleus is free to play, essentially, you can chip away at his event. That doesn't become as big of a deal, but to me it is still a drawback that there's really only one leadership in this faction. Kind of like just you need him to kind of make him run. Looking at the characters, the worst two characters in this faction, in my opinion, are Darian and Robin Bad. Just Darian, you don't really have to sink a lot into him now because you can get Soleus. And then the top two best characters in the faction, in my opinion, are Soleus and Freezard with a substitution of Cruel. Little Baddie, I thought was once one of the better tanks in the game, but based on new characters' kits and things like that, you can burn her down quickly. She's not as feared as she once was. Eric the Shieldbreaker didn't make the top 2 or 3 simply because if his rousing cry gave it to everybody on the team, he'd be amazing. And if he was a little bit faster, he's so slow. But the human team is just middle of the road. Number 4 in my opinion. And they can carry you through to the end game, through the campaigns, especially with Soleus. Number 3 is the Orcs. Orcs are a very end game team. You need to have Zira. Zira is probably the best leadership in the game. Hard Orc, Harder Farm, Mor'Doom, Legendary Event, Tromgar. You get through the achievements, and then he's an end game node farm. So there's some really good things about the Orcs, but they just bring so many good things in the end game. But they are sorely lacking a true healer. They kind of have, a lot of them have off synergies, like Mor'Doom with demons, Diesel Rock, goblins. Just really weird. And, Hard Orc is so good support-wise, but he's extremely squishy. If you're running Zira, Mor'Doom, Tromgar, Hard Orc, and even, Rantha or Mar, fantastic. They have, I talked about Zira's leadership being one of the best in the game. Rantha's is extremely good for all of clans. But again, no healer, and they could use a solid DPS character. Now, Zira does great DPS. Mor'Doom, okay. He brings more versatility. Mar does okay. He's probably the next best option there. But all in all, they need another DPS character. But with the Zira leadership, that team is just so annoying. But just very, very end game. Top 2 worst in the Orc faction for me is Mortha and Dieselrog. Give them a good healer. Mortha's just trash, but you have to level her, number 1 for Soleus, and then a lot of people use her as a healer throughout like the early campaign, mid campaign. You really don't get another healer for the clans until you are later in the game. So it's a shame. They do need a really good healer. Top best 2, obviously Mor'Doom and Zira. Hard Orc Tromgar could easily be in there, but Zira and Mor'Doom are just fantastic, but they are very hard to get. So, Mor'Doom not so much anymore because the event's going to come around more and more often. But Zira is still a long, hard farm, but she is worth it. Gearing out your orcs isn't extremely difficult. Not the easiest, not the worst by a long shot. But that is why orcs come in at 3 for me. Number 2, goblins. Goblins bring so much to the table. They could be the best synergistic team in the game. General Murdoch could be the easiest 330 shard unlock out there. I mean, it requires the demons. We're going to gear them up. They need the team. You need the full team to even start to run them, and you need Murdoch as your lead. You know, once you have that full team, including Dr. Frank, who's the longest, hardest farm in here, but they are still a super accessible, very easy team to get up and running. Dr. Frank offers the days, which counters the demon team to an extent. You know, it also hurts pretty much anybody. All the assist trains you get going. Instructor Goram makes Adam extremely a viable tank. Adam is very tanky, but his taunt falls up and down, and he was one of the worst characters. But you pair him with Instructor Goram, and he is just so solid. So good for that Goblin team. But they don't have a lot of plug-and-play viability. You run them. Another big problem I do have with the Goblins is who you're putting in the 5th slot. I love Major Shot's kit, but his stats just suck. He's so squishy. Amara kind of falls off the table. Where's the healer? When are we getting Thanisa? She's the only character we don't even have mentioned yet. She's a 50 shard unlock, so she's going to be a battle pass character. Is there going to be a little event for her? You know, we need that healer. Dr. Frank is just so good with his days and his overcharge, and then he builds up the shields of your whole team. You can put that over shield on them. So just extremely good, and they are so much to play. Super synergistic, carry you through hard tower mode. Really good team. Definitely an offensive team for Battlegrounds, but that 5th slot keeps them out of the number 1, and they need a healer. So, top 2 worst characters in this faction for me are Old Lore and Sergeant Pigwald. Just, Sergeant Pigwald can do some crazy damage, but he's so squishy. It's hard to keep him alive. He's even worse than Major Shot. Major Shot at least brings blind to the team, if you can keep him alive that long. But the top 2 are obviously General Murdoch. Just, you need him. His leadership is so viable. And then Dr. Frank. What he does to this Goblin faction just brings in more assists, that overcharge, the shield, the days. Just, he is amazing. And if you are running this top 5 here of Adam, Dr. Frank, General Murdoch, Instructor Goram, and Major Shot, even you could put Amara in that 5th slot. Solid team. So much fun to play. Best synergy in the game. That's why they come in at number 2 for me. Number 1 is demons. Demons are by far my number 1 race in this game. And let's start off with some good things about this. They have 2 very solid leaderships in Buff and Slinger. Either one of those would be great. Slinger is very easy to get. To put together a demon team, very easy. If you want to take demons to the next level, it's kind of harder. You need Buff. You need Kiri, Shadar. But to put together a solid team to unlock General Murdoch, it's very free to play. Xantera, easy farm. Slinger, pretty easy farm. Kyra, easy farm. Puncherface, easy farm. Venomate, easy farm. Now, they also are a complete race. They have a healer, very good healer in Xantera. They have probably the best tank in the game, Kiri. They have a lot of DPS with Kyra. They have Slinger for dispels. They have Shadar and Buff for turn meter manipulation. But the only thing they're really missing is a tank. Now, Mega Wheel can be that tank if you want to spend a lot of gear to get him to gear 11. And Kiri is, like I said, one of the best tanks in the game, but she's just so hard to get. and get ready and up and running. So they have a great tank, but extremely hard to get. Then you kind of have the 5th slot dilemma with this team as well. I mean, you have Buff, Kiri, Shadar, Kyra. Who are you going to put in that 5th slot? You could put Slinger in for the dispels. You could put Xantera in for the heals. You could run Mega Wheel as an off tank. You could put Puncher Face in so he could give you the main taunts. So that 5th slot is still kind of up in the air, but you have a lot better choices with the demons than you do with a lot of other teams. And one of the reasons why demons takes number 1 for me is if you break down the characters, almost everybody in this team falls in the top 10 in the game or higher. The main team themselves, like I was talking about. Kiri, probably top 2 tanks. For me, she could be the best tank in the game. You have Buff, who's considered to me like a support character. Top 2, right? Xantera, easily top 5 best healers in the game. Kyra, top 10 DPS character in the game with the daze, the ability block, the invisibility, putting the tank under putting the team under stealth with the tank getting the counter chance. And then Shadar could be a top 5, 8 support character as well with the turn meter manipulation, does pretty good damage, stun. So Slinger, top 5 lead in the game, giving everybody turn meter when they get crit. He has the dispel, mass dispel if he gets a critical chance. So everybody kind of falls in there, and that's why they're one of there. But the one big drawback for the demon team is they are very, very RNG dependent. And what I mean by that is you have buffs, leadership, the turn meter manipulation, potency, tenacity check. What debuffs are you going to put on? What buffs are you giving yourself? Shadar, same thing. Stuns, potency, tenacity check. Just super RNG dependent as a whole, but it really does not stop them from being the best race in the game. And in my opinion, the 2 worst demons in the race are Mega Wheel and Venomate. Mega Wheel just kind of falls off. If he wasn't such a gear hog, he could probably find a place because he could be a good off tank for Kiri. And, he has kind of a DPS kit more than a tanking kit. The best 2 demons in this race, Buff and Kiri, for me. Buff, just his overall utility, so good. Dodge rate based on demons, just really, really good kit, but super RNG dependent, which we talked about. And then Kiri. Kiri is the best tank in the game. You get her gear 11. You get her up and running. Look out. Her taunt goes up and down and up and down. And if you can master that mechanic and how to play them, which doesn't take a lot, she is just so good. So there it is, my YouTube family. There is how I would rank the races in this game. And let me know down in the comments below what you think. Do you think that I am way off? Do you think you like what I put out? And again, it's just kind of how I did it is, what race do I want more than others? And I did look at other factors, such as, accessibility, overall champions in there. But for me, the easiest way to do it was put them in a list and cross one off each time. So with that being said, just to review, number 7, we have our Panda faction. Number 6, we have Pride. Number 5, we have elves. Number 4, we have humans. Number 3, we have orcs. Number 2 is goblins. And number 1 is demons. Again, if you have not voted for the August poll, click down in the description below. Go take the survey. Top 5 best plug-and-play champions in Dragon Champions. And if you're looking for a good place to hang out, Discord link in the description below. And as always, if you're just finding me for the first time, click that subscribe button so you don't miss out on good things coming your way. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my uploads, so you can join the party, join the conversation. Gonna finish working on the door today. Got a video planned on Sunday with Bones, where we break down the July list and how we can make those 5 worst characters, in your opinion, better. And one big news is, I can't say much more than this, but T8 is on the test server, and we are testing it, giving our feedback to the devs on it. So that is coming very, very soon. And as always, thank you for watching. Thank you to the XMG family members out there who support me and help me grow. This is for us, and I love the journey we are on. So become part of that family. I'll see you on the next one. I'm out.